the incredible historic winter of 2022-23 spring. So another version of mall walkers versus internet shit talkers. Joe Rogan is nothing more than Rush Limbaugh light. And so anyway, we get late spring snowstorms in Utah. In Utah, of course, but they're rare. This is insanity every day. Record snowpack, record weather. We get 300 sunlight days a year here. Not this year. It snows every day. You don't think this is some water? Oh, so flooding's already happening all over. I talked to so many people yesterday. Their basements are all flooding. And so it's a nightmare. And so the thing that's going to be so dangerous about this, I mean, March in like a lion, out like a lion. What's going to be so dangerous about this is, epic flooding. It's already happening, but it's going to be mudslides. We're so late in the year. And look, we've had no water for 10 years, and I mean none, no runoff. So all along these canyons, these little creeks and these little things, so when they come flowing down, because it's getting late, and the weather forecast clear into April, we're 10, 15, 20 degrees below normal every day, all day. So there's been no runoff. It's records up there. Oh, God, they start here we go. Oh, wings, we will pretend all day, every day. The military industrialized complex. You can't sleep. You'd be at the hospital trying to recover, and those jets just fly right over, low flying, waking up all the kids. Back when people used to give a shit about noise pollution around here, and they weren't all gung-ho, yay, Hillfield, oh, God. So, it's an important historic day. This is a nightmare, I'm telling you. It's unbelievable. It's blowing my mind, actually. I was here in 83, 84. I sandbagged. I worked at the Mormon Church Hospital. You saw concrete in Huntsville. And I sandbagged every day. Isn't that when Mark Hoffman did his thing? Whoa! We were down there that day. Whoa. So, another episode of mall walkers versus internet shit talkers. So, historic day, Addie. So, whoa. Trying to get me going. So, South Korea said hell no to Fukushima. The Fukushima ban stays on all food produce, everything. Oh, I didn't see that on the internet. I mean, all over. So, it's Operation Foxconn News here in Utah. I predicted it. I said they will never mention Fukushima. KSL from hell. None of them will. Won't mention Fukushima. Shh. Governor Cox is a pro-nuclear. Go figure. Worst governor in history gets caught bringing nuclear waste from Europe into southern Utah. Uranium mill. We're going to enrich it, sell it back to nuclear reactors. They're going to sell it back to the military for making bombs. So, here we go again. So, it's a nightmare. So, thank you in Germany, thank you in Austria, thank you in Spain, thank you in Italy, thank you in Luxembourg for standing up to the taxonomy. That fight's been going on and on and on. And France is thrown down, because who is the French government? Come on, they're the nuclear industry. They've bailed out the nuclear industry so many times that the nuclear industry becomes the government. Just like here in Utah. What? We don't make nuclear energy. No, we're the toilet. We just store all the waste. So they've thrown down and refused to let France control the narrative. And the United States politicked hard. Heavy. They really politicked hard and heavy. Or why? Why would they? Because who is the United States government? They have released so much pork, the Manhattan Project turned on the spigot. Billions and trillions and trillions and trillions, hundreds of billions of dollars a year to the Department of Nuclearism, which is the DOE now. Rick Perry and Jennifer Granholm are going to make it sexy. And the military industrialized complex and the big mega dairy product milk your cows 4 times a day, poison the people, and then dump it. They subsidize it all to the point that they become the government. It's the nuclear energy military industrialized complex, beware. The mega dairy welfare queens, tail wagging the government dog. They are the government. Austria, Denmark, Germany, Spain, Italy, Luxembourg says, oh, hell no, you're not bullying us, you nuclear bullies. No, it's not clean. It's not green. They just rip it. They know. They get it. They understand that it's the filthiest, toxicest, nastiest stuff in the world. It's the biggest lie perforated on the American populace, on the world populace in human history. Bar none. I mean, people try to argue with me about uranium natural from there. Oliver Stone made Natural Born Killers. Did he make that movie? I guess his new one's a sequel. So, I mean, my God, it's not natural under your feet. Uranium-238. Yeah, they mine it. It's toxic. That's not what they use in a nuclear energy reactor. The uranium-235. That's. Oh, somebody says, well, that is natural. There's a small trace of that in 238, but that's not what they use in a nuclear reactor. They centrifuge it. They spin it. They collide it. Split the atom, burst the atom. That's totally unnatural. That's what's in a nuclear energy reactor. And it creates all kinds of new products. It creates all kinds of new products, or new elements, like plutonium, heavy metals. It's the most unnatural thing in the history of mankind. Einstein was right. And everything's coincidence post-Fukushima. Okay. Everything's coincidence. The demic was called on March 10th. What a day, March 10th. That's what Fukushima was, March 10th here. March 10th here in Utah when it happened. You know? So, Korea came out, South Korea, and says, oh, hell no. Been banned the whole time. The United States has always brought it in. Remember Hillary Clinton's, I wonder who leaked those out originally. All the work I did for all those years. If you're in the plume, make sure you take off your clothes, wash them. I'm going to put that out for Hillary. You know, don't take a chance. I've got to talk to Henry before I go to Fukushima. What? Henry? Kissinger, he'll be 100 this year. He's still running the show? I thought there were war crimes and warrants for him all over the world went off to Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong. Went off to Afghanistan to kill the Taliban. Went off to Iraq to get Dick Cheney and friends a big old sack. Whoa, boogeyman, how nice is they invented ISIS. Didn't Bob Dylan write a song called ISIS? I mean, CIA, somebody in there? Whoa. What about the oligarchs, the military industrialists, make it rain in the Ukraine? How come that thing's still going on? Another pro-nuclear, Tsar Putin. We go from Gorbachev, Reagan, the anti-nukers. You know, Nancy's funeral was on the 5th anniversary of Fukushima. Again, well, we were sinning off free that day. You know, the astrologer was an anti-nuclear, you know. So we go from that to Bummer, Dumber, Bush Dumb, filmed in Ogden, Utah, Trump, Teflon Don, Wacko at Waco, sliding with Biden, the puppets, Operation Foxconn News, MSNBC puts out the narrative. These politicians just repeat it. Repeat after me. They're minor birds. You know, they're mockingbirds. Oh, what an no, I take that back. That's an insult to a minor bird, to a mockingbird. They're regurgitating fainting goats. Well, that's an insult to a fainting goat. I don't even know what you call these puppets. Well, that's what they are, puppets. So, we brought on the food the whole time here. It's radioactive, and I can prove it. I'll post the link. Japanese Fishing Alliance in Japan in 2022, on their own, not the government, testing the rockfish, testing their fish. 1,400 becquerels per kilogram of cesium-137 in 2022. Oh, it's all over. They're going to dump. They've been dumping the whole time. There's 3 full cores buried into the Pacific Ocean. Leslie Shaw at Lake Barrett on 60 Minutes. It took them nearly 3,000 days to tell you what Kevin Blanch told you in the first hour on March 11, 2011. Well, fixing this is like going to the moon. Leslie Shaw, Lake Barrett, Leslie Shaw. Yeah, that Lake Barrett. Yep, 3 Mile Island lie. He's the Fukushima. Lake Barrett to Leslie Shaw. Way bigger than that. This has never happened before. So they lied to us at 3 Mile Island for all those years. They lied to us. Now, maybe we can wait and do a Netflix documentary on Fukushima in the year 2525 and man is still alive. It was a partial core meltdown with a big bunch of meltdown, and they plumed it and rated it all over. Get your Hershey's. How is it synergizing? They lied to us. Just like the milk studies that gone in here in the Nevada test site. They were monitoring all the dairy in the milk, and they weren't telling any of us. Just remember the 2 study. All this they just hid from us. It's out there now. The government's put it out there now. It's radioactive. When Utah used to be we were the hardcore anti-nukers downwinders. Scott Matheson died of leukemia. Young. Last decent governor we had. So radioactive. So, come on. Who runs this country now? Operation Foxconn News run right out of the House of Windsor. Well, that used to be against the law. Dan Rather, the greatest reporter who broke the back of Vietnam and Walter Cronkite, he went in there, boots on the ground, to let the American public see what was really going on. The greatest reporter of an entire generation, maybe in the history of the country, since Paul Revere and Sam Adams group. First, they come for the craftsmen. Dan Rather was fired from CBS News by foreigners. Foreigners come in and got control of all these media. Look up their board of directors, which is against the law. Until 1994, Contract on America. The moral majority now. Where's Dennis Hastert? So, look, it's down, black is white, mommy's right. It's incredible. They fired Dan Rather for calling George W. Bush a draft dodger when George W. Bush was a draft dodger. Don't tell the truth. And if you don't believe that it's all lies, Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, Colin Powell, who died of multiple myeloma. So did Rumsfeld. That's the disease I have. Whoa, it's leukemia. The Polygon. Remember when they sent their troops into they staged them at the old Russian, it's not old, test facility site? Oh, I fought with them. I was at the peace lodge just saying, don't do it. Saddam Hussein never had it. It's a total lie. All the experts, I talked to him at the UN, Hans. I talked to all those guys. I talked to him before he went to Fukushima, Japan, the head of the IAEA. He went to Fukushima, Japan, and then I was in Vienna when he died. I'm like, was it cancer? No. Oh, yeah, it was cancer. So, suddenly, Gross, who's in, the New York Times is reporting that there's a massive troop buildup at the Big Z. I'm the guy that named the Big Z. Well, I was there when they elected him to the new predecessor. I talked to him personally. The IAEA. Oh my God. That's a pom-pom team. That's a propagandist. It's all in cash, by the way. I've spent so much time in the Blanch box in Vienna. That's me. You know how much work that took to get the Blanch box in Vienna? I actually settled where UN and Austrian property starts and begins. What a fight. What a fight that was. I got detained inside there for no reason. The IEA is all in cash. It's a nuclear energy propagandist machine, just like the Department of Energy posts the bomb. Einstein was right. Hell of a way to boil water. Kevin Blanch, hell of a way to boil a plant. So you're still going along with the narrative. Everything's okay. And I said this for years. They can't cover this up. They'll try, and everything, changes are permanent. We have these cultural fads. Trumpism a fad? Well, the left's trying to keep it alive because they know moderate Republicans will not go its own way. They can get sliding with senile Biden reelected, who's nothing more than James Carville Pinkett. He destroyed the Democratic Party in 1990s. So he destroyed the Democratic Party. He turned it into James Carville Pinkett stinks. Talk about a fox in sheep's clothing. The party was completely, and quit being the party of environment. Quit being the party of labor. And became the party of globalization, the party of imperialists. Or elitists on the left. What's the right? Tax the future, give them. I thought remember when they were fiscally responsible? What happened? Trump ran more debt than all of the previous presidents combined. The Teabagger Congress, all they did was run debt. What happened to these parties? They're both imperialists. Pro-nukers? Good God. Since, the election was stolen in 2000, that's unarguable. The League of Women Voters, you can go into that. It's like the joke was, how do you steal a United States election? I whiffed. How many votes does it take to win a United States election? 6. 5 Supreme Court justices and your daddy put there. The Supreme Court in 2000 never ruled the first one, lay down boy. They said they didn't have time to talk, to count. So, all entities weren't even accounted for. You can look it up. It's out there. They just didn't win for it. Now, all the networks called it for Gore, except for who? Operation Foxconn. Now, there's Roger Ailes. Whoa. I can't believe what they've done. We used to make fun of it when they rolled in here. Fox News has bought up the contract on baseball. I was a big baseball guy. I loved baseball in those days. Eddie Miller was my favorite player. It's so fun. Keep track of the Standard event was great baseball. Sports page was historic paper we had. Ask Ken Burns. When you watch the documentary on Roosevelt, every time they show a screenshot, it's the Ogden Standard. Now it could be the worst paper in the country. There's no media in Utah. There is no media. What happened? Well, KSL used to be a powerhouse. What happened? And remember when the sheep at Dugway? Remember that famous photograph? They were anti-nukers. What happened? Now when you're I just told you. Remember Maxwell's dad came in and tried to buy up all the newspapers in New York, and they were through a fit in New York, and so that's when the line was being crossed between tabloid and what's tabloid and what's a newspaper. Well, he can buy a tabloid but not a newspaper. Well, what is Fox News? It's not news, they admit it. Neither CNN, what's his name, who did the Celebrity Apprentice, Zucker, Trump's buddy, come right out and said, well, we're not news, we're entertainment. He said that. So, hello, there is no news. And so you had YouTube, who used to call themselves the Great Equalizer, who's been taken over by, whoever runs, what are the 3 branches of government in this country? CIA, NSA, DOE department. They run the CIA tail wagging the government dog. They're pro-nukers. There's a lot of money in free money. It's government pork. The government pork is by the billions. And then the Immunity Act in the 1950s, look it up. The Immunity Act is for all nuclear, promote nuclear. So if you get money, new scale, all these different companies, you come up with an idea, you come up with a sham, the government funds it all, and then you can't sue them. No, you can't sue them, and they're not public utilities. When public utilities were heavily regulated, there was risk-free rate of return. They were the safe investment. They deregulated Alaska and Ron. Christian Holmes IV is in them. His daughter, Elizabeth Holmes, she got convicted of stealing over $1 billion. Speaking of Kissinger, where's she at? She's in her mansion in San Diego. I thought she got convicted. Well, she's not in prison. Well, she has a couple babies. Oh, you don't think that has been tried to stay out of prison by people? Don't get caught stealing a pack of cigarettes. So, Korea today, South Korea come out and says, oh, no, we're not. I thought they left it. No. I mean, it's radioactive forever. Don't want to live like a Chernobyl refugee. Don't want to live like a Fukushima, Japan refugee. Damn the torpedoes. 79, I hitchhiked all the way from here to New York to the concert. Springsteen sold us down the river. Had a wife and kid in Ogden, Utah. Yeah, I went out to drive. And I decided to go back and raise my children. So, but I hitchhiked all the way across. Went to those, had to go. What I had to do to get into that. But I was there, and remember they were all anti-nukers? What happened? Go to a Springsteen concert now. $1,000 a ticket, I don't understand. So I saw him in the garden, Madison Square Garden. Some people up front rolled out a great big Fukushima right in his face. I witnessed because I had the obstructed views beyond, which that's the secret of Madison Square Garden. Those are the best tickets in the house. Behind the stage in that gym called the Garden. It used to be like the old Salt House here. Oh, it's coming down so hard here now. It's good. I can't believe this. It's unbelievable what's going on. You know, the weather whiplash. I mean, we get nothing for 10 years. The heat bubble over the... I'm the guy that named the drought in 2011. I named it the Great the Great Western North America drought heat bubble. I'm the guy that named it before it happened. Holy shit. Holy shit. Ho, 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 ho. It won't stop. It won't stop. It won't stop. I can't believe it. So we're going to get such mudslides. It's imminent. This will be historic. I was in, like I said, I worked the concert. I saw concrete. Underneath the Mormon Church Hop building, that concrete was always a mess, and we were trying to restore it. We were there for months. You know, that's back when Salt Lake was hardcore. The old astronaut bar used to be right up there. Seconds. You know, that place was hardcore. You didn't dare go on the avenues. Now it's the most expensive real estate around. You know, LDS East State, the bone marrow transplant where I lived. Used to walk down through Memory Grove. You didn't dare walk through Memory Grove in 1980. Oh, hell no. But I sandbagged every day. This would be way worse. We're into April. You know, talking about April Fools. So, Grace said, hell no. Thank you in Austria. Thank you in Germany. Thank you in Denmark. Thank you in Spain. Thank you in Italy. Thank you in Luxembourg for standing up to these nuclear monsters and saying, oh, hell no. What are you talking about? It's nothing. They just rip it. They know. Remember, Angela Merkel was a nuclear physicist. After Fukushima, Germany had 20 reactors. You had 3. Those 3 are going to shut down this month, by the way. And she shut them down. They had one of the most expensive cutting-edge reactors, multi-billion-dollar, getting ready to go online. They mothballed that. It's kind of like in Austria when they had the 1 reactor. I know I was at Freedom Eisenblatt's house, the 200th anniversary of Waterloo. She requested it. Probably the most accomplished grassroots anti-nuclear activist, and she ripped that. She went off on Gunter Schill. She went off on Helen. She went off on Busby. She went off all these half-nukers. She's the one that stopped that reactor from being fueled. You know, the actors in India, oh, they tried. Those women are incredible. They're great anti-nukers all over there that are all the way in. They're not half-nuclear. So that reactor, there's a bar in it. It never got fueled. So in Austria. So how's they done it? They got creative, and They're recycling kings, and same in Denmark. So how they done it on so alternative, they got creative, and they had a massive lowering consumption camp. In the United States, consumption junkies, what's your function? This mall is empty. All of Ogden, all the buildings are empty. That's the whole country. All clicks. No bricks. Jeff Bezos, born at Los Alamos. What? His mother was 14. You know, it's real last minute. So it's all a coincidence, bro. Everything's because the nuclear energy constantly runs the country. So there's no news. There's nowhere to go. You know, Kevin Blanch internet kettle. So this is for the big kids graduate. It doesn't matter how many people watch this. It's who. The country, the whole, everything in the world is controlled by such tiny, tiny people. You know, they illuminate. The Illuminati, they don't illuminate. They radiate. So, and they got control. The puppeteers versus Kevin Blanch and clan. You know, we try. We try. Remember Epstein and those guys? Didn't Epstein's place was, that's Epstein, Victoria's Secret. You know that story between him and Waxer. Oh, that's Waxer. Now there's a whole nother Victoria's Secret. Epstein, he was so infatuated. It's kind of like Ackerman, the hedge fund guy. And remember his big pharma? I mean, he was just like gaga over that guy. Lost 3 or 4 billion. You're still listening to him on nuclear energy. Yeah, I mean, who they promote. So, like I said, it's all coincidence. It's all coincidence. Bill Gates, right after Fukushima, meeting with Epstein at his house, and then Melinda divorces him. Just a coincidence. Dead tadpoles wipe out of your feet. It's called just coincidence. Wasting this salmon collapse. Radical acute collapse. Still I'd go to see 1 to 2 years. Class immediately start 2012. Chinook started collapsing in 2016. Go see it 5 years. Coincidence. People over the Western United States. All coincidence post 20. The pandemic declared on March 10th, which March 10th. That's all coincidence. The great coincidence here. Okay. Okay, I don't live in here. I'm a real scientist. My high school biology teacher walks in here. Came right up to me. You know, he's a gem. You know, we were taught when I was young, back when Weber State had real professors. Now they have, well, look it up. Look it up. The FBI is accusing them of treason. School business that I taught at number 1. Look it up. Look it up. You know, there's no coincidence. And people that use the word coincidence in science is mystified. They're baffled. They're stunned. They're curious. They're perplexed. They're bewildered. They're alarmed. I'll post 2011. That's a fraud. Anybody says that. Chris Busby went on RT and said that Pacific Ocean was a big place it would dilute. Arnie Gunderson, I had to kick him outside, called it a hydrogen blast for 7 years, would not admit they were meltdowns of Fukushima. Helen said that the Japanese were tidy people and they had fixed it all. Okay, all right, whatever. You can go on. It's like this anymore. I'm to the point. You know, the open heart surgery twice, everything, the lies. You can listen to Joe Rogan, which is nothing but wrestling, but you know, you can go along with all this. Alex Jones and Jeff Rentz used to put my Tidepole videos on their sites and then sell them Patriot Bunker gear underneath it, marked up 1,000%, just making so much money off my back and never sent me a penny. You know, which is why I'm in critical condition. Actually, I do the work. Look, I'm recovering from open heart surgery and bypass surgery for the 2nd time. I had open heart surgery on January 10th. You know, so these ironies for the 2nd time. You know, my perfectly good. I was born with a birth defect. My dad nuked to death and got a test site. He was such a gem. Died in the prime of his life of ABL, acute blastic leukemia. I was with a little leukemia survivor tonight. Leukemia last night. You know, she's gonna hit her 2-year mark next month. You know, we have an ML childhood outbreak here in Utah. AML should never happen in children. Survival rate's very low. It's a brutal disease. And like I said, I don't eat, sleep, drink this. I sleep with it. I spent basically 5 years in the bone marrow transplant at LDS East State. I have ML de novo, which is pretty well a death sentence. I was too sick for a transplant. I mean, it was brutal. And so the birthday effect I was working with is a heart murmur. I was a distance runner. I was thinking about it last night. It was a good one too, but I always felt that burn. Here I'm doing that with that burn. He used to have to run against Ed Eyestone in junior high. Yeah, he's just been in a couple Olympics. What a runner. The legendary track program at BYU used to be legend. So, well, track was until Nike destroyed Steve Prefontaine. Until, Nike started all this madness in Oregon. When they started outsourcing. It's like Colin takes a knee, and everybody's all for that, making a statement. God, Utah here used to be the biggest they called it Deseret. They were flag burners here, the Mormons. They were hardcore anti-feds, big time. They hated them. They had their own currency, ZCMI, their own merchants. They hated the federal government. They fought them. They fought them for years. Camp Williams had the guns painted down at the house in Salt Lake, Brigham Young's Beehive House, and up above, that still existed when I was a kid. Now look at them. My flag's bigger than your flag. How did that happen? 1980, Reagan was here. Came right down the street of my house. A member of the Secret Service came to my house. I was pretty wasted then on Grant Avenue. And we were just talking about Jay that worked for Coors. He used to have the van for the taps. Go fill up all you want, Kev. And they came and interviewed me because he was going on that route. And he went to Tomato Days in Hooper. Yeah, Reagan. There's so many ties here. Reagan, Bush, Richards. I can go on and on. Scowcroft was in the plan. He's from here, right here. So many roads lead to Ogden. I said, all roads lead to Vienna, Mozart. Like that. I've said for years. All roads lead in and out of Ogden, Utah. So I could write a whole book just on the infamous criminals here over the years. So now the criminals are not so. Well, the criminals here now are in hairspray and wear a suit and tie. And professors at Weaver State School of Business go from number one to dead last. Wouldn't you protect that? Wouldn't you nurture that? Wouldn't you love that? They're so degenerate. This is the most corrupt place in the world. I'm telling you. People don't believe me. Utah's the most corrupt place on earth. A to Z. So, anyway. South Korea, thank you, says no, hell no. And Austria, Denmark, Spain, Italy, Luxembourg, they all fight back. He says, oh, hell no. You're not calling what's dirty, filthy, rotten, clean. You're not playing up as down, black as well. And again, France, who is the French government? Arriba. Remember Chicago Bridge? I was right here in Ogden. Remember when I had you short in that? And the stock went from basically $30-some to zero, like that. Well, how come you didn't buy puts and derivatives on that? Because that was in 2017. May 1st, Mayday. That was the first go round of my open heart surgery, which they got wrong. And I told them for 5 years I felt like they got it wrong. They wouldn't listen to me. Only Dr. Goff, who I grew up with. I come from a family of heart surgeons in this town. I'm seventh generation here. My grandkids are ninth generation here, so, it's been a hell of a journey. I almost died on this one. I came really close. So thank you, everybody, for supporting this historic work. Prayed for me. It's been a hell of a fight since 2011. My grandson, we were talking about, I have a photographic memory with birthdays and days. I'm rattling off everybody's birthday. I'm like, this man goes 170 yesterday. So, what day did you get cancer? October 13th, 2011. Went into the bone marrow transplant on 11/11/11. And it's been a hell of a war ever since. I'm like the Pacific Ocean. I'm up against ignorance. I'm against degenerates, but we cling to life. We hang on. You know, we fight, but they got us down so low. It's like the mighty blue lady of the Pacific Ocean. Kevin Blanch, the Marine biologist in the high desert of Utah. I fight for her. She fights for me. Mile walkers versus internet shit talkers. Kevin E. Blanch. It's historic, ongoing. ML leukemia. PhD. Stand tuned.